Mycerinus Matthew Arnold ampersand quo. Not by the justice that my father spurned, not for the thousands whom my father slew, altars unfed and temples overturned, cold hearts and thankless tongues, where thanks are due. Fell this dread voice from lips that cannot lie, stern sentence of the powers of destiny. Ampersand quo. I will unfold my sentence in my crime. My crime that, wrapped in reverential awe, I sate obedient, in the fiery prime of youth, self-governed, at the feet of law. Ennobling this dull pomp, the life of kings, by contemplation of diviner things. Ampersand quo. My father loved injustice, and lived long. Crowned with gray hairs he died, and full of sway. I loved the good he scorned, and hated wrong. The gods declare my recompense today. I looked for life more lasting, ruled more high. And when 6 years are measured, lo, I die. Ampersand quo. Yet surely, O my people, did I deem man's justice from the all-just gods was given. A light that from some upper fount did beam, some better archetype, whose seat was heaven. A light that, shining from the blessed abodes, did shadow somewhat of the life of gods. Ampersand quo. Mere phantoms of man's self-tormenting heart, which on the sweets that woo it dares not feed. Vain dreams, which quench our pleasures, then depart when the duped soul, self-mastered, claims its meed. When, on the strenuous just man, heaven bestows, crown of his struggling life, an unjust close. Ampersand quo. Seems it so light a thing, then, austere powers, to spurn man's common lure, life's pleasant things? Seems there no joy in dances crowned with flowers, love, free to range, and regal banquetings? Bend ye on these, indeed, an unmoved eye, not gods but ghosts, in frozen apathy? Ampersand quo. Or is it that some force, too wise, too strong, even for yourselves to conquer or beguile, sweeps earth, and heaven, and men, and gods along, like the broad volume of the insurgent Nile? And the great powers we serve, themselves may be slaves of a tyrannous necessity? Ampersand quo. Or in mid-heaven, perhaps, your golden cars, where earthly voice climbs never, wing their flight, and in wild hunt, through mazy tracts of stars, sweep in the sounding stillness of the night? Or in deaf ease, on thrones of dazzling sheen, drinking deep draughts of joy, ye dwell serene. Ampersand quo. Oh, wherefore cheat our youth, if thus it be, of one short joy, one lust, one pleasant dream? Stringing vain words of powers we cannot see, blind divinations of a will supreme. Lost labor. When the circumambient gloom but hides, if gods careless of our doom? Ampersand quo. The rest I give to joy. Even while I speak, my sand runs short. And as yon star-shot ray, hemmed by two banks of cloud, peers pale and weak, now, as the barrier closes, dies away, even so do past and future intertwine, blotting this 6 years space, which yet is mine. Ampersand quo. 6 years, 6 little years, 6 drops of time. Yet suns shall rise, and many moons shall wane, and old men die, and young men pass their prime, and languid pleasure fade and flower again, and the dull gods behold, ere these are flown, revels more deep, joy keener than their own. Ampersand quo. Into the silence of the groves and woods I will go forth. Though something would I say something, yet what, I know not. For the gods the doom they pass revoke not, nor delay. And prayers, and gifts, and tears, are fruitless all, and the night waxes, and the shadows fall. Ampersand quo. Ye men of Egypt, ye have heard your king. I go, and I return not. But the will of the great gods is plain. And ye must bring ill deeds, ill passions, zealous to fulfill their pleasure, to their feet. And reap their praise, the praise of gods, rich boon, and length of days. Ampersand quo. So spake he, half in anger, half in scorn. And one loud cry of grief and of amaze broke from his sorrowing people. So he spake, and turning, left them there. And with brief pause, girt with a throng of revelers, bent his way to the cool region of the groves he loved. There by the river banks he wandered on, from palm grove on to palm grove, happy trees, their smooth tops shining sunward, and beneath burying their unsent stems in grass and flowers, where in one dream the feverish time of youth might fade in slumber, and the feet of joy might wander all day long and never tire. Here came the king, holding high feast, at morn, rose-crowned. And ever, when the sun went down, 100 lamps beamed in the tranquil gloom, from tree to tree all through the twinkling grove, revealing all the tumult of the feast-flushed guests, and golden goblets foamed with wine, while the deep burnished foliage overhead splintered the silver arrows of the moon. It may be that sometimes his wondering soul from the loud joyful laughter of his lips might shrink half startled, like a guilty man who wrestles with his dream, as some pale shape gliding half hidden through the dusky stems, would thrust a hand before the lifted bowl, whispering, "A little space, and thou art mine." It may be on that joyless feast his eye dwelt with mere outward seeming. He, within, took measure of his soul, and knew its strength, and by that silent knowledge, day by day, was calmed, ennobled, comforted, sustained. It may be. But not less his brow was smooth, and his clear laugh fled ringing through the gloom, and his mirth quailed not at the mild reproof sighed out by winter's sad tranquillity, nor, palled with its own fullness, ebbed and died in the rich languor of long summer days, nor withered when the palm tree plumes, that roofed with their mild dark his grassy banquet hall, bent to the cold winds of the showerless spring. No, nor grew dark when autumn brought the clouds. So 6 long years he reveled, night and day. And when the mirth waxed loudest, with dull sound sometimes from the grove's center echoes came, to tell his wondering people of their king. In the still night, across the steaming flats, mixed with the murmur of the moving Nile,